Hello, Dave. Welcome to another lesson. So, today I've been thinking about some concepts that I think are super useful to understand, and lots of times programmers they're not that familiar with them. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about imperative versus declarative. Um, you usually say programming, but whatever. I mean, the real core it's the two words here. So I'm going to give you a rough definition. Like I say, we could look one up, but imperative, at its core, imperative means a command, right? So it's a very specific command, as it were. I'll give you an example of that in a moment. Declarative is you're essentially declaring, you're saying this is the way I want something to be, but you're letting another system generate the commands or code, or basically generate the sequence of steps in order to bring it into harmony. So let me give you an example. So if I'm in a soccer field and I want someone to move over there, um, to the over by the goal, I could say, go ahead and move forward 10 steps, turn left 30 degrees, move forward another 10 steps, and then you'll be at the goal, right? Where I essentially generate a sequence of commands. And that's kind of the essence of it, right? Uh, the next one is it's just declarative, where I can say go stand by the soccer goal, and you can let that person essentially figure out this series of steps um, to accomplish what they want. So when you get into programming at a very high level, um, low level things tend to be more imperative, right? And higher level things such as HTML, React, and other things, uh, those things tend to be declarative. So today what we're going to do is we're actually going to make we're going to make a little imperative website. This isn't the way you would ever actually program anything. I mean, you always want to use higher level things, um, and let other algorithms kind of figure it out. But let's go ahead and get started here. So let's go ahead and we're in lesson 4. We're going to call it imperative. And I've already kind of been playing with it, but I'm just going to call this one index.html. I'm going to go to the console there, lesson 4, imperative, HTTP server. Let's get this going here. And I'm just going to, what command did I put this to the side? So this to the side here, and VS Code, if I can find VS Code again, put this over here. So let's go ahead and get this working. HTML, head, hello world. And we're going to do this. There's going to be our very first version of the quiz app we've talked about. Body. And we'll just say a div, and we'll say hi. Save it. And it's working. Now, we probably should get a live reload one, and you can do that. I'm so used to using this one, and it's just real quick for me to switch anyway. What we're going to do, so what happens is, so this is HTML, and this goes back to HTML. It's a declarative way of representing the document object model, right? At core, your browser over here, it's just a bunch of nodes in memory, and it represents it in the DOM. That's okay. That's probably one we should add to the quiz. You should add DOM. It's the document object model. And what happens is we go ahead and we write HTML or an abstraction of HTML, which is what React actually is. And it can be a little confusing because we're like abstraction on top of abstraction. But even though there's a lot of abstractions and layers in programming, it is a finite. It's a finite number of them. Hyper. Anyway, I'll let you look that up. But I mean, at core, if you actually get into the browser, it's not like the browser is continuing to think in terms of when you get down to a low enough level, it's just a bunch of nodes essentially. It's a document object model. So let's go ahead. So I'd add DOM and HTML, which you don't already have in your quiz thing. And let's go ahead and create some data. So we're going to do this in kind of the, like I said, this is a really old way. This isn't the way we do things anymore. That's fine. I'm going to create a script, and I'm going to copy in a few things here. We're not going to do this in JavaScript, or in TypeScript, I was going to say, because it's just too much of a pain to do it in this old way. It doesn't matter. This is super simple. So let's go ahead and add something simple first here. So we're going to add a button, and we're going to say show quiz items in console. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a function show quiz items, and that's just going to console.log quiz. And so if you're doing in vanilla HTML, they have different properties, right? One of them is you can say style, and we could say color red, and that's going to make it red. So you can see that there's my button, and I made the text red. But one of them, if we're going to focus on today, is on click. And it's going to say, well, what do you want to click? And we're going to say, go ahead and show me quiz items. Let's refresh that. So if I click on it, you notice that it is in there. We said console.log, and it is now logging those 3 quiz items to the thing there, console. So now we're going to be making this a little bit more. Let's add a few more things here. So we're going to add one. We're going to call it, say this is going to be our quiz. And we're going to say this is a class of, we'll give an ID. Quiz area. And there's nothing in it right now. So we're going to begin writing some imperative code to populate it. So let's go ahead and let's add a few more buttons here. It's obviously a worthless button. So we're going to add a button called next item, and on that we're going to make a function on click. We're going to say next item. We're going to execute it. Function next item. Now for the heck of it, maybe we'll say show next item. And this is where we can, so first we're going to go ahead and we're going to select this div. Now this div, it's on the page right now, but you can't see it because it's empty. So we're going to say first, we're going to say this is our, let's call it our parent node, because it's going to be the parent node that's going to contain all of our quiz essentially. And we do document.get by ID, and we called it quiz area. So in theory, we've essentially selected the document. So you can see how this is very, like, we're doing a lot of very specific steps, and this is very imperative what we're doing. Then what we're going to do is, now you might be wondering, what's this document.get? This document.get document, that is, it's a global object that exists in the JavaScript environment inside of a browser. In other JavaScript environments, it won't exist, such as in Node. So let's begin looking at a few things we can do here. So now that we have this parent node dot, it's trying to guess what's there, but We're going to do while parent node dot first child. I'll explain this. Parent node dot remove child. Parent node dot. Here, so let me show you what this is. I'm going to add a little span in here. Hello, my friends. So this is our really simple way of clearing the node. We're going to get rid of all the children that are in there. We're basically saying that as long as there's a child in there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep calling remove child. So if I click this, in theory, it should remove any children that are in there. So there's this span that I created, that hello, my friend. So it should disappear, and it does. So every time we do that, we're going to clear it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we're going to pick a random item to show. So we'll say random item equals quiz.sort, and let's see if I remember this. Math at random plus, let's see, it goes between 0 and 1, so let's say minus 0.5. This is a really hokey way of doing a random. You know what? Let's have ChatGPT. It's going to do it better. Give me a JavaScript function that picks a random item from an array. See if it does something that it was doing. Yeah, we're going to do this. Gee, that's a better way of doing it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to paste that, get random item from array. So our random item, we're going to say get random item, and then the array that we're passing in is the quiz array. Great. Really interesting. So we go ahead and we get a random item. Now we're going to go ahead and let's see here. We're going to manually create a new node, an LI node. So we're going to say list item equals document. I'm looking at the side here. Like I say, no one ever, very rarely writes anything like this. So we created an LI node in memory. This would be the same if I had one right here. Say cat. And you notice when I hit clear, it removes it because it removes all the children. So we essentially created an LI in memory. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say list item dot text content equals, and we're going to say random item dot concept. And you know what we're going to do, Dave? We're actually going to add another button. We're going to add a button that says flip. Let's make this a little bit more fun. Button flip. On click, we're going to call flip. And the way we're going to do this is our random item, we're actually going to store out here. Let's say let random item. I mean, this is a horrible way of doing it, but anyway, this is just how to illustrate a point. So what we're going to do is, okay, so it does the concept when we show the next one, and then we're going to say like let is showing. Oh, I wish this was TypeScript so bad. Is showing equals concept. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, we're going to create a function, flip. And what we're going to do is say, if we have a random item, right, which we will after we click show next, then we're going to say if is showing equals concept, then what we're going to do is, now you notice that I moved the random item out of that function, so that way we set it there, so that way it's visible in here. Because if I would have declared in here, the scope of this function would have kept it from seeing it. So anyway, it's the whole thing. That's why these two things are outside that function. And we're going to do this. You know what we're going to do, Dave? Whatever. Let's just keep going, Dave. So if it's the concept, that means that we want to flip to the description, right? So we're just going to copy and paste this horrible thing. Actually, we'll do this in here. So once again, we're going to clear everything out now. We probably should put this, we should put this in a function. Now we're going to say, we're going to create a list item in here as well. So when we flip it, we go ahead and we clear things out. And we create a new list item. And this list item, we're going to say dot text content equals random item dot, and this time we're going to do the description. Else, we're going to say, you know, and then we need to set like is showing equals description. So if it's on the concept, we're going to show the description, and we're going to say that it's showing description. Oh, that's a terrible. What are we showing? And then we'll say what are we showing is back to concept. Okay, now we actually forgot one thing here through all this. We need to, after we create this list item, it's sitting there in memory, so we add some content. But now we need to do the parent node.append child, so we have to actually add it into the parent list item. So let's see how this is looking here. Let's go ahead and ignore our flip for the moment, because we're still missing something there. So we do this. Every time I hit next item, we should get a, yeah, I mean, it's randomly jumping to them. Perfect. Isn't it amazing now? So let's do flip. So if there's a random item, you know, all we need to do is we just need to do parent node dot append child list item. Okay, so now let's get the next item and we can flip it. Oh, see, we have something wrong here. List item create is random item. So if it's that, oh, we didn't switch it back to the concept. So if it, anyway. So now let's do this. Next item, flip a representation. Oh, that's, this is pretty small, but there we have it, Dave. It's our first, so we can go to a random item and we can flip the card every time. It's driving me crazy how those are at the, put them at the top. There we go. And we'll get rid of these initial things, and for the heck of it, when we first start everything, we will say show next item. We'll call it the first time. Okay, so we can flip that. So the point is, this is the imperative way of making something, and this isn't the way that you basically write code anymore. And because we end up using abstractions that are declarative, where and we'll do that next time, where we create we're going to use React to essentially declare this is what we want it to look like, and we're going to go ahead and let the React algorithm essentially, it's going to create a virtual DOM, and so it basically maintains a representation of the DOM separately from the actual DOM. And so what happens is when we go ahead and we make changes to that, React goes through and it figures out the change set. It says, okay, what are all the different elements I need to create? What are all the different elements I need to change? What's all the different text content that we need to change? The point is that React is going to figure out all of these little commands for you, and it's going to just run in the background. So that's the power of something that's declarative. You let an algorithm generate the sequence of commands to get to a certain state. But I think this is good for now. So if I can figure out how to exit ScreenFlow here. It's terrible if they it's like one of the dumbest things about these new Macs. Things get hid behind this little thing, and so you can't access them. And so I don't have a great way of accessing. There it is.